Hey everybody, and welcome. This is Tavo DRC. We're going to be talking about the Western European Levitical Patriarchism, Matriarchism, but I'm trying to do it without any bias, bigotry, because we're not talking about all men, all Christian men. When I talk on this app, when I talk on any media, I am always addressing the Christians, anybody, and the born-again ones who say they believe the Bible, all races, but I'm submitting it as Sela and all other belief sets, non-belief sets, races, and religion, cultures of belief are welcome and valued, but we'll respect you, but we're really talking to the Christian. We got some real points and decisions to make. So if I teach on bias, if I teach on Levitical patriarchism, I want to make everyone know the differences. Everyone wants bad news these days. They don't want good news because that's too, rolls off you want to hear the juicy gossip. You want to hear the latest gory details, the latest story, as they call it now, the tea. You want us to drop the tea, Miss T and the tea, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to not name names or faces. I will name subcultures, and I'm going to teach how to discern other people correctly, whether they're a Christian or not, because people want a stereotype. You just want it easy. You want to take it easy. Oh yeah, I heard on TV, I heard the national number, they're all just alike, they're all this kind, they're all that way, every race, every age group, and I dealt with this, not here, but before, when I found a subculture that was the most misogynist, bigoted, and they were all white. And I'd never seen that kind. Not everybody. And this is why you got to teach it, because everybody's going to say, oh, yeah, they're all like, no, they're not all like that. You got to watch everybody who says they're born again, including myself, including yourself, every person of every color and race, as if they're the only ones, the only group, the only person, the only male, female, black, white, he or she, they or that, whatever is going on. They are the unique individual that God has created, handcrafted, tailor-made, in whom he loves, but everybody doesn't get along or want to. Everybody doesn't act the same. They don't have the same background. They don't have the same beliefs. We got to know that and just accept it as part of the human race and respect them. Choose to respect. The lowest bar of any Christian, any minister, any lay, any white person, brown person, black person, all right, is the respect. You don't have to agree. That didn't mean you endorse them, condone them, participate, and they don't have to endorse you or me or participate either. That's the real bottom line of humility, society, and real respect in the Christian form of presenting Christ. Christ was born and raised in the Middle East. He was friends with Arabs and Jews. He was friends with Romans. He was friends with all kinds of people, cult worshipers. Temple of Diana was a mega influence back then. Baal worshipers, poor and rich. Jesus Christ, the Messiah, thought everybody was equal, and he was a friend to them, whether they received it or not. He was humble. The only group that Jesus ever targeted, named in public, reviled 3 times or maybe more, are the Pharisees that were of his own father's house. As I was talking to somebody today, there is the day of Pentecost, and the day of Pentecost is now when we're filming it. It's, happening soon. And the word Pentecost comes from the word 50, meaning it's 50 days from the days that Moses got the 10 Commandments on the Mount Sinai, 50 days after Passover. So there's Passover, the Jews got out of Egypt, and 50 days later, after they got out and had Passover, then Moses got the 10 Commandments, and there's a feast, a Jewish feast, Hebrew festival, because of that. The issue is that 50 is celebrating, that feast, their origin in the Jewish community is now the Pentecost of Book of Acts, chapter 2. And we want to have the roots. We want to know the roots are different. They're not solid white. They're Middle Eastern. We got to protect Jesus' healthy name. So when we're talking of back under the law and Philistines and back under the law and flame-throwing, Bible-thumping in modern days, we don't see Jesus doing that. That's not nice. But you say, where does it come from in the Christian, some of this born-again Christian community? In the back of my mind growing up, not my parents, nobody I knew, but just on TV and the way it is in a culture, you hear the old thorny, you sinner, you're going to burn. Later, when I grew up, I encountered this, what I now call Levitical patriarch culture, where I happened to move out there, my family. I'd been in ministry, Christian ministry, all my life. This is a new kind of subculture, turned out to be LP, and they were like in church hoppers. We're seeing, are they going to church? You're not submitted. I'd never been around it, but I got targeted. I got clubbed by what turns out the Goodfellas Club, who never spoke to me, but they did a lot of damage because I had never been raised around it. And spiritual warfare happens, and it didn't happen just to me. I noticed how many people they did that to. Nobody ever talked. See, we're going through the list of things that are really accusing, controlling, dominating, occult, witchcraft, false authority, bias, misogyny at different points. So Levitical patriarchy, there's a lot in it. So I want to make sure that men, women are not all, if they look matriarchal or patriarchal, there's nothing wrong with being a patriarch or a matriarch. A matriarch without Levitical patriarchism, false teaching, psychic, occult, or whatever it is, racism, is okay. So to define it, a patriarch or matriarch over here, this ministry, is a male or female with a stable, anchor disposition, a sound, balanced person. You want wise advice. They could be the head of a family, a tribe, a ministry, a business, male or female, but they don't have a giant ego. They have humility, and they usually are stable breadwinners and owners, but people go to them for wise counsel. So we're pro you, be that way. It's when they get false teaching, like accusing people, having religious requirements that aren't even in the Bible. They go way back in the country law, back in the hills. That is when accusation comes. That's my study after decades of learning about this. That usually the turf owning, the accusing, are they church hoppers? Are they submitted? I saw your church hopper. I saw them church hopping. I saw her. All this talk, this type of talk, shows the law, critical spirit, Phariseeism. And it also shows presumption because they don't care about the person. They just want to own them, target them to say they're the head person. But it is Levitical patriarchism as a quality that is the patriarchy in ministry. You can have Eli, Temple Eye Boys Club, that female. There can be from crazy to subtle, gentle people, gentlemen, ladies, but there's still that male, archaic, that women should, it's just like suppressing. They're usually not very diverse, so it has a racial stigma and also bias, really biased. So that's why I teach so strongly, because humans, ministry is what this is. There is chain of command. I believe in that. I believe that let the Christian husband be head of the home. Nothing. I was raised like that, but it's not legalistic, flame-throwing, Bible. It confronts. Also, if you have a bone to pick with somebody, instead of saying, oh, I saw them, I caught them, they did that, she did that, they did that. That's the tone of Levitical patriarchism, legalism, back under the law. That sin consciousness is in America. It's in a lot of places. And the ones that have done this with me have been out of order. They've never confronted me. They didn't have any discernment because they were so legalistic. That legalistic stuff gets on your brain and it makes you dull of discernment, because then it shows you really don't know your scriptures, which is about humility, compassion, and they're compassion fatigued. Why? Because I think they want their turf because of money. It's a money thing. I think it all boils down, lack of discernment boils down to compassion fatigue, lost first love, and trying to look good, low esteem, as well as money. So we'll talk in it later. Listen, the love of money is the root of evil, not money, but when you think more highly of other people as objects, things, your pet, controlling, They are your property, like women are their property. That one on that just died, the Micah Miller thing, that is a sign of really crazy off Levitical